Good morning, Joe. 43 past the hour. Joining us now from Washington, Senator-elect from Arkansas, Republican Tom Cotton. Welcome back to the show. Good to have you on this morning.
Good morning, Mika. It's great to be on with you as always.
Let's start with the news of the day. We have this rescue attempt which tragically failed. There's some criticism now coming from family members and others who wish it hadn't happened. What's your take?
Well, I don't have all the details of the raid, Mika, but our special operations forces are awesome. And any kind of raid or rescue attempt on the battlefield is always susceptible to battlefield contingencies, like a barking dog or a sleepless child. But from everything I've read, and I'll expect to get more briefings this week on it, they behaved bravely and competently, and the raid just didn't go well. And unfortunately, Luke Summers was killed in the raid. But anytime we know where an American is being held and we have a chance to rescue that American, I think our default position should be we go get our fellow citizens.
Senator-elect, it's Willie Geist. It's good to see you this morning. I want to move to immigration because you've called for your constituents to be and for all Americans to light up the congressional switchboard over this question of immigration. What exactly are you upset about, and what do you want Americans to do?
Well, anytime Americans are dissatisfied with the direction of policy in Washington about any issue, the best way they can affect the direction of Washington is to vote, but we just had a vote. So for the next 23 months, the best way they can affect the direction of policy is to contact their senator or their representative. Obviously, I think Barack Obama's executive amnesty decree is unconstitutional, and the Congress should use every tool at our disposal to stop it. I wish that we would do that this week. If we don't, though, I think that we should fund the government on a short-term basis, and then in the new year, when we have a new and accountable Congress and Senate, we should take action to stop the president from going forward with issuing 5 million new work permits and taxpayer identification numbers to illegal immigrants.
John Heilemann.
Congressman, just staying with immigration for a second. As you know, there was a bipartisan Senate bill that's been passed on immigration reform, a comprehensive one. Some people have suggested that it would be a good idea to have the House be allowed to have an up or down vote on that for John Boehner to let that happen. How would you feel about that as a possible route to comprehensive reform?
I don't think any lame duck Congress on any major issue like that should be making decisions when you have retiring members or losing members who are no longer accountable to their voters.
Sorry, Congressman. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I was actually thinking in the next session, not in the lame duck.
Well, I think immigration reforms need to focus on the real problems, which is the lack of security at our border or internal enforcement. The American people simply don't have confidence that Washington, D.C. is going to secure our border and enforce our immigration laws. And until they have that confidence, it'll make it harder to progress on any other front. And Barack Obama's decision shortly after he lost an election in large measure because he wasn't paying attention to the economy to make it easier for illegal immigrants to get jobs is going to make it harder to reform our immigration system.
Congressman, let me follow up real quick. You think the bipartisan Senate bill, the one that passed with a lot of Republican votes, that had a lot to do with border security on there, you think that doesn't go far enough on border security for your taste?
I think the American people have seen time and time again when Washington passes a bill that is amnesty first and enforcement second, we always get the amnesty and we seldom get the enforcement. We have to give the American people the confidence that we're going to move forward with any enforcement measure that is passed into law.
Dorian.
Congressman, many people were surprised when you said in the last election that as a citizen you would vote for an increase in the statewide minimum wage in Arkansas. And I'm wondering how you came to that position and what will be your position on a federal increase in the minimum wage.
Well, this is one issue where my Democratic opponent and I actually agreed that an immediate nationwide increase in the minimum wage to $10 an hour would be bad for Arkansas workers and bad for Arkansas businesses. The Arkansas measure was done at the state level, so it was done closer to the people, and it was a much smaller and more incremental increase that accounted for economic circumstances in our state. But when you legislate a minimum wage in Washington, D.C. with a almost 25% jump, the Congressional Budget Office, a nonpartisan research institute in Congress, has said what we all know is that it's going to cost up to 1 million Americans jobs. What I'd rather see is a healthy, growing economy where you have high demand for everyone's labor, like you see in places such as North Dakota and West Texas because of the oil boom, where new clerks at Walmart or new cooks at McDonald's are getting $15 an hour because of the growing economy, not because of Washington regulations.
Senator-elect Tom Cotton, thank you very much. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Still ahead, the